Hey everybody, welcome back to the Ben and Noah Show. I'm Ben Soffer,
And I'm Noah Lian.
and on this episode, we are going to be talking about survival jobs. Yay!
Woohoo!
All right.
Yeah, survival jobs are something that, you kind of, it's not that you don't want to take it, but it is something that you take out of necessity. I mean, this day and age, rent is through the roof. And sometimes you can't
Oh,
be
I
always
get it.
you can't always be
Sorry.
pursuing like your passion constantly, especially if the passion doesn't pay, right? So balancing out the risks and balancing out like the okay, what is realistic to pursue while I am like what's realistic to like work on while I'm pursuing my passion. That's when survival jobs come into play. It can be part time, it can be full time too. Um, but it's something that you take out of necessity to so that you have a roof over your head, you are able to afford food, you're able to still like you're not too limited on the financial standpoint. But it comes with a caveat, right? Those part-time jobs, I mean, they do take a lot of energy. They take a lot of your time in your
Yep.
scheduling.
Yep.
Do you have any experiences with that?
Yeah, I mean the thing about survival jobs is that people are coming at them from a bunch of different angles and everybody's situation is different. Like in the context of New York, like there are people like me who like live in New York and there's a little bit less to worry about, if you live with family or something, but then other people who are coming like from a complete other state or even another country, like there's a whole other length to it. So people have different needs, whether that's a part-time job or a full-time job, or how much money you need and how much time you can spend on any one thing. But in the creative space, I would say no matter where you're coming from, it is definitely essential when you're first starting, because you need this structure. I mean, for me personally, like even without like the money component, which obviously we will get into later, like the structure is still key for me. Like there was a time like when I first got to New York where I was not working at all and I wasn't getting anything done. Like because my brain didn't have enough exposure to any of the things that would otherwise catalyze my creativity. So like I feel like structure is part of the creative process, and finding that wherever you are, if you can't get a job, and a lot of people can't get a job right now, but like volunteering is great, and learning some good self structure routines. But I mean that's just aside from the economic component,
Yeah.
which there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, and I think that also, I think that that's a one benefit of a survival job too, right? They provide some structure.
Yeah.
Big things about creatives with no like if you're a creative and you're saying I want to come into New York City or any of the other big cities and I want to make it big or I want to be successful in the artistic endeavor that I'm pursuing. First of all, you are technically going into a place where you are applying to jobs again, just like how you apply to a job in a typical way on LinkedIn or on whatever site you want to use. You're applying and auditioning for roles and those things as well. Just as the job market is really bad, the auditioning market or the performing space, okay, the auditioning market is really unstable, like in the form of like you're not gonna be sure exactly when you're going to make your big break or your big cast role. So you might be doing some small things here and there, but it's never going to be stable, and that's the thing that makes it really difficult for you to say like, okay, I just want to move to New York and I want to be an actor or I want to do this or I want to do
Yeah,
that.
it's
You
not
don't
that
have
simple.
you don't have a
Yeah.
long-term contract unless you are going straight for Broadway, you know?
Yeah. Now look, that's not inherently a bad thing. Like just cuz like you're not like, born with it from the get-go, I mean, or, with like a crazy network like out of the gate, like that doesn't mean that it's bad. You're still getting valuable experience working in one place and you're still getting ideas. But and again, it varies from person to person, but I mean, if you want to enter the creative field as a performer specifically, it is very, very likely if you're going to a big market city that you are going to need one of these. It's going to take time to get that gig. Even if you're just doing like self content creation like I am, like you still need to figure out how to self structure your time and get the necessary equipment that you need and know how to budget. These are all just important things that you need to know how to live, let alone to be able to create. So
And I think survival jobs also, like the thing with survival jobs that I would like to push a little bit back on is that while they do provide you that structure and they do provide you, like, you know, the economic, you know, benefits as well, one thing that they do encroach a lot on is your time and your energy. And I think that that's two big elements that we don't really think about when we are looking for the survival jobs in the first place. But once we get that, and we're now like, okay, I want to audition on the side while I am working this job, or I want to seek my the opportunities that my artistic opportunities, my artistic passion while I'm working this part-time job, while I'm working this full-time job. You come home late sometimes, or you're working hours where a part of your day is taken up. Maybe it can be 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours a day that's eaten up, and you have to balance that with your own time of, like, you know, spending time with friends, the basic necessities of eating your meals, and then sleeping, and then keeping that all in mind. Now you say you want to audition. You have to find time to rehearse. You have to find time to create your portfolio. You have to find time to think about your artistic endeavors, and then you have to, when you maybe book this role, for example, they tell you the audition, the rehearsal schedule. They tell you the shooting schedule for a film, and then you realize, oh wait, my part-time job or my full-time job does not accommodate for that. And so the big break doesn't only happen with just like, in general, here's my big break, but it's like, oh, here is my big break as in this role. I can't even accept it because it doesn't work with my schedule. Now I have to choose between the two. Now do I drop this part-time job, this survival job, for the sake of pursuing this role that I want? And then you have to start weighing all these things, or do I say decline the role and keep sticking to my survival job? And with how difficult it is to book jobs nowadays, with like auditions and with all these applications, ditching your survival job is a huge risk. So this comes in the conundrum of how, like, actors have to constantly be making these decisions. Whenever I'm auditioning or applying for anything, am I just auditioning with the hope of, like, okay, if I get the role, I actually can't do the production. I'm just auditioning for the experience. Or am I only going to audition for like the 3 roles or 4 roles that I can actually do, but it's very, very few and far between. It's not as, I feel like I don't even have the chance to even prove myself, to do shoot as many shots as I can.
yeah,
You know?
I think it's commendable to want to, like, from the get-go, whether you're coming straight out of college or you just decided one day, you know what, I'm gonna move to New York City or LA or
That's kind of what I
Atlanta or
did.
something. And like it makes a lot of sense, and it's common to, I think, hit the ground running when you get there, but you gotta have the ground to run on.
Yeah.
And if you need to, there is a structural component. There is a, you want to be able to, fall asleep, every night knowing that, like, you're gonna look at, if you're ever gonna check your bank account at any time, that you're not gonna have a reaction. It's like, shit, that's how much I have. Like, so there's certain things that you just learn. But I like to emphasize, they're not bad things at all. I mean, you're just learning how to live your life. I mean, not being a student anymore it's a big adjustment, and I will say that the label leaves pretty fast after you hit graduation. But it's not a bad thing. I think I've said this before on the podcast, but one thing that I think I'll reemphasize is I've heard some performers now that are more established say to me in the past that it takes about 1 to 2 years to get fully adjusted to new life in a big city as a creative. And I think there's a lot of truth to that, and I'm kind of seeing that in real time.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I 100%, I have nothing to follow up on.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think some advice that I would say, I mean, first of all, and this is one thing that I learned, don't conflate your passion with the industry, because they are two very different things. Take like film and media, for example. There's a lot of shit going on that we've talked about before with, like, Warner Bros. And Netflix and all these big companies. Like, if you know that you want to work in that industry, great. Like, take whatever opportunity that you can get. But if there's like one thing that, like, you really want to do, say it's performing, and you say, like, you want to, like, I don't know, start at like a talent agency or something and then just sort of like work your way up, in my opinion, don't follow that trap. You're just basically signing up to try to like try to like intertwine one thing with another, but it's not really what you want. I see too many people go down that rabbit hole, and I have nearly fallen victim to it, but like performing is very different from say a PR role or an HR role or a marketing role. Like there's a different background for it, and you should not be discouraged if you don't get it, because the fact is it's a completely different field. But that's okay. But I mean, I think that any experience is a good experience. Like me, I work at a print shop right now, and when I started, I was not that good at it. I'm starting to pick up on it, but I mean, like, I can say that I have retail experience. I can say that I know how to work with a bad customer, or
That makes me think, Ben. Do you think the job in the overall the survival job that you would call this a survival job, right? A survival job in that print shop, is it an overall pro or a con for like your artistic pursuit in
It's a pro. It's absolutely a pro.
How so?
Well, I'll say this to start. From a writing perspective, I get so much material from those customers. They're great. But they are so funny, and I'm just like I'm approaching it from like this college grad who's like does not know how to use a Xerox machine because I've never needed to. And you see these other people that barely even know how to use their phones, and you navigate it, and you realize that like for me, like I come at it from like a good education like at Emory, but then I come here and all of a sudden like I'm the idiot. But it all comes down to like the social context of it. But the creative side is one thing. The second thing is the affordability thing. So I can like before I barely had enough money to get McDonald's. Now I can I'm able to spend a little bit more freely and put some more investments into like my creative projects. I can put again, like I know where everything is going, and I have a plan. Having a plan is good when you're creative. Not like a art plan, because that's just gonna go all over the place. But like just having like a health plan or something. I don't mean insurance. That's different. You don't need to worry about that now. But like like making sure that you're just you can take it 1 week at a time, and as long as you're just getting something out of it. Like when I first started the job, and there have been days where it was so bad and I really wanted to quit, and then I found a way to turn it around, and now I'm getting better at it, and I'm getting confident with it. And I'm not going to be there forever. They know that I'm not going to be there forever, but at least I'm getting something out of it, and I'm learning something from them, and they're learning something from me in return. So it's good both ways. And as long as you recognize the caveat that it's temporary, it's not going to be that way forever. Obviously, you have your eyes set on larger things. As long as you have that in mind and you're staying practical, then it's completely fine.
Yeah. So survival jobs, in summary, it's more like it's not a bad thing, nor is it like a purely good thing. It's just like you need to be realistic with your expectations when you're coming into the city in the first place, and how you look at your survival job. It's not this like what are your expectations coming out from, like what do you want to get from that survival job, and being really realistic with yourself, like this is how what my expectation is, so that you don't let yourself down, or you don't have just unrealistic expectations about what to get from this job. Yeah.
And I mean, just two things just about advice to getting the survival job, because there's referrals, and then there's just like applying, and both ways work. I found that referrals work a little bit better, especially with like the scams, just like retail jobs. But watch out for scams. They are all over the place. If you're cold applying to something on LinkedIn and they say that you need to interview for them right now or tomorrow, don't take it. If there is a job description from like a cold message, I got a cold message from someone who said they wanted to. There's a company that's like a direct to consumer company that's like trying to make like comedy practical. I knew it was a scam. Comedy's not practical at all. So, but no, like seriously, the broader a message is and the less specific it is, the more likely it's a scam. So stay away from that. if it's a reference, you kind of know what you're getting into. So like the job I have now, I got referred to. Shout out Gilad. I met him at trivia. He's a great guy. And you know he basically explained to me how it worked and you know what I would need to do. And I gave him my resume and he referred it to the person, the hiring manager. So references are a little bit easier. So in that case, once you get to the city, like it's simple, just meet people. You know, you never know who you might meet one day. And as long as you're, there's a saying that's kind of cliche, but it's called like network equals net worth, and that's not just like a B school thing. Like you know, you can take with that what you will. Like, but meeting people always helps. You know, whether it's for a friend or just a connection like that. Outside of that 9 to 5 is good, man. You know, it's like you're in a new city. There are people there that you can meet. Take advantage of it. Yeah.
And also, you don't have to rush too much. But like, I did take a while to really realize that as well. I think I got too focused on other things and then just wanted to stay in the comfort of your home a lot. But to really put yourself out there, I think it benefits. I know that benefits extroverts a lot, but I'm sure you can also, as an introvert, thrive in this city. Just making those small connections that you can outside of the work hours.
Yeah. But I think the bottom line, and to conclude, is that it's okay to take a survival job, especially if you're performing. In fact, it's smart. I mean, you want to know how to live your life and how to have creative expression. That's all great, but this is one of the steps in making that happen. It is not giving up. It is helping yourself.
Wow, very nice.
Yep.
Nicely said.
Yep. Thank you.
And with that being said, thank you so much for listening.
Yep. I'm Ben Soffer.
And I'm Noah Lian.
See you next week.
Catch you later.
Bye.